Hi, welcome to Victoria Knits podcast. I'm Victoria. I thought I'd start out this podcast by introducing you to our household. So this is my husband and I out taking a walk. And here we are doing a selfie at Glacier National Park. This is our little dog Chelsea. She's about 17 years old. She's not a big dog. She's half corgi and half husky. This is Scarface. He died just a few months after we moved to Montana. He had cancer. We found out after we got here. We had him for the last 3 years of his life. And I really miss the grumpy old guy. This is our cat Jessie. He's 6 years old. He's the biggest cat we have. This is Felix. He's about 5.5 years old. He's our smallest cat, but our bravest cat. And the cat on the right is Frankie. He should have his mouth open because he never stops talking. This is our one of our chickens, Tootsie. She's the lead chicken. She'll be 8 years old this June. This is Ginger. She's another 8-year-old chicken. She looks like she's been hanging out in a back alley somewhere. The black one is Brazil. She's 5 years old. And this is Hazel. She's also 5 years old, the brown one there. And they love to have their greens. And yes, we do get eggs from them, but since they've never met a rooster, those eggs would never turn into chicks. If you're interested, I'll post a link in the show notes. Our black chicken Brazil had a kind of a bad mishap this past year after we moved up here, and if you're interested, you can go to that link and see how we dealt with it. So in my last podcast, I talked about wanting to get the boy cat pattern finished, the toy by Julie Williams. It's a paid pattern on Ravelry, and I only had the head finished, but I did get it done, and this is it. I really like the way it turned out. I think he's very cute. I was, like I said last time, I think the face was the hardest part for me. Definitely. The sweater, I would just say follow her instructions and put markers in for each section. I didn't do that, and I got a little bit lost, but I really like it. I think Russell will really like it. I'm going to give it to my oldest grandson for his first birthday this year. I think it's really cute. Another thing I finished since my last podcast was these string-along toys. These are from Susan B. Anderson. It's a paid pattern on Ravelry. I think they're just adorable. In her pattern, she has the pattern for the mouse, the monkey, and the frog. I made up a pig and the bumblebee to add to my little string along. So yeah, I really like them. I really enjoyed doing them. Her instructions are great. Here's my little bee. I thought he turned out so cute. I put some little ribbon on the back for his wings, which was super easy. I just sewed that on. And my little pig, I just kind of made up some ears, and he has a little tiny tail on the back. I did a little bobble for his nose. I think they're really cute. I plan on giving these to my youngest grandson. He was born in last November. I think these would look really cute, strung together and stretched across his little play area or whatever. They're just really cute, and I think they were really fun to make. I really enjoyed them. Her patterns are great. The other thing I got done, it's been quite the toy week, couple of weeks. I made this monkey toy. This is the monkey, I think she pronounces it Jacobus, by Anita Wilschut. She's Dutch, and I thought this turned out really cute. I really liked it. She suggests you start out with Judy's Magic Cast On, which I have a real struggle with, and I attempted it about 3 or 4 times and then finally got something that kind of worked for me. What's nice about this pattern, it's a paid pattern on Ravelry also, but what's nice about it is you can use any size yarn and any size needle, and then you'll come up with different sizes of monkeys. I thought that was super clever of her. So this will be a present for my granddaughter, and to make it a little nicer for her, I thought it would be fun if it had a little baby. So I used Susan B. Anderson's string along toy pattern and made a little matching baby. I hope my granddaughter likes it. She's coming up on 3 years old, so I think she will. I'm planning a visit to all my grandchildren next month, late next month. So you got to have presents, right? And to make the monkey a little more fun for my granddaughter, I decided to make it a dress. I made up this little pattern myself, just took a couple attempts. It's nothing complicated. I did do a picot edging on the sleeves and the hem. And I don't know, it's okay. I think it's cute. I think it'll help Hayden have a little more fun with it. But I liked it. So yeah, it's been lots of toys. If you've watched my last podcast, you know that the reason I started them was to keep track of Christmas knitting and to get my Christmas knitting done early. So you're probably wondering what happened to that whole thing. Well, it's still going on. I finished these scrappy socks for my son-in-law for Christmas. I do not own sock blockers, so my husband was kind enough to model them for us. I just use my own pattern for these. These are toe-up socks, and these are all done with leftover sock ends. Now here comes my foot. I have one sock done of a pair for my daughter. I'm sorry, we're looking very sexy here in our little sock modeling. Like I said, I've never bought sock blockers. I understand why people buy them, because they show off your socks very nicely. They stretch things out and they make the pattern look really nice. But I've never really had any use for them, and I have a limited budget, so I have not purchased any. I did see someone on Instagram whose husband made her some, so I'm kind of pushing my husband to do that. On my daughter's scrappy socks, which will be her Christmas present, this is the first one, I did since I was in the picot bind-off mood after that little dress I made, I did do a picot bind-off on her socks just for something different. I think it's cute. I love these scrappy socks. They're so comfortable. And I have measured my son-in-law and my daughter's feet, so these should fit great. I've knit socks for them before. Another thing I finished was another present for my youngest grandson, but this won't fit him for a while, so I'll hang on to it, but I wanted to show you because it is finished. It's Henry's Sweater by Sarah Elizabeth Kellner. She's the one that did the had the pattern for the gingerbread boys that I showed last time. This is another free pattern on Ravelry. This little sweater, I actually finished it quite a while ago, other than for the buttons. And I don't really like to call things finished until the buttons or whatever is attached. I thought this turned out really cute. I like this pattern quite a bit. Anyone else have the issue I do, that when you go to buy buttons for an finished knitted item that needs them, you have to take them to the store with you? I always do that. It seems kind of odd to me. It's like I never really know what button I want to buy until I have the garment at the store with me and I'm looking at the buttons. I also feel like I'm not secure about what size buttons is exactly going to fit, because sometimes the button size the pattern calls for is not the size I end up buying, and the size I end up buying, of course, works out better. Anyway, what other weird things do you do? Or I know I'm not the only one. But if you can think of something, leave it in the comment and I won't feel quite so weird. The other thing I wanted to talk about was a couple podcasts I really like. Probably everybody knows about them, but I just wanted to give them a shout out. Lucky Jenny Knits. She lives on the East Coast. She has a really nice podcast. I love the things she knits. She does a really nice job, and she just seems super friendly to me. Another podcast I really love, I would suggest you check out, is called Little Drops of Wonderful. That's Allie. She's in Great Britain. She knits some great things. She really stretches herself and tries some new things, and I think that's great. Something else I noticed while watching podcasts this week was Erin Donahue at Gimme Yarn 418. Her nephew Seth, it's very sad, and probably most of you know this too, has her young nephew Seth has cancer. So I'm going to leave a link in the podcast notes below about where you can donate money, or if you want to buy some of her Ravelry patterns, that money is going to be donated to his care. So it's just always good to keep in mind other people, I think. And, you know, of course it is. So anyway, as usual, I plan on keeping these podcasts very short. It's still very snowy out here in northwest Montana. Lots of snow on the ground still. We are getting above freezing a few days now, and it seems like spring might be coming, but I don't think it's here yet. I've changed locations for my podcast. You probably noticed that. This is where I sit at night when I do my knitting. It's a very comfortable chair. I love it. I have a really great lamp over here you can't see, but that's my knitting lamp that I turn on when I need it. You probably noticed this little portrait in the back. A friend of mine, when I used to live in Boise, Idaho, painted that. I gave it to my husband for Father's Day. That's our little dog, Chelsea. And I think she did a great job. I love it. And Chelsea is very much his dog, so I thought it was a really sweet thing to do. Anyway, I think that's it for this time, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Yes, I will. So goodbye from Montana, and thanks for tuning in or coming back. See you next time.